To the user security module. The overview of this module will provide security within the CMSNet application where a user is prohibited from gaining access to another county's data. It will deactivate AIX usernames after a period of inactivity and disallow access to the CMSNet application. It will provide an automated method to automatically deactivate a user within CMSNet application after a 90-day period. It will provide a second-level validation process for login both to the CMSNet legacy and the web environment. Provide users the ability to reset their own password in the web and update their personnel file. The county system administrator has the security authority to make the following changes to their own county's users. They will be able to add new users, deactivate existing users, modify existing user profiles, reactivate and deactivate users, reset a user's password, modify menu options, view user's history. A county user has the security authority to make the following changes to their own security. They will be able to view and modify their own profiles, reset their own passwords. The state system administrator has full security authority to make all of the above changes, and as well as support the help desk. Today we are going to be covering accessing the user security. We are going to be covering the CMSNet account activation and deactivation request form. We are going to be covering the search for a user. We are going to add a new user. We are going to modify an existing user. We are going to cover the new password requirements and the new password standards. We will show you how to change a password. We will show you how to update your own personal profile. And there are also changes to the web messaging and now the new county mail link. We will show you how to log out from the web. Those will be our web changes that we will cover today. And in addition, we will also cover some of the legacy changes, which are logging into the screen and the changes there as far as removing you no longer use an access code. The password requirements, we'll revisit those. The new temporary password and how those work, and changing an existing password and where you go to change the password. So let's get started by, this is the access screen to get into the new user security module and all of the modules, the web modules within CMSNet. As you can see now that the screen no longer has an access code field. It has two fields. The one field is login as, and that is your regular user ID. And then the second one is your new password that follows the new password requirements. So the first thing that we're going to do is show you how to log in using the new password, or the new login. So you use your new user ID. And then you would log in with your new password, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then you click on Submit. Okay. And as you can see, a couple of changes have been made to this screen. The first thing you'll see that's new is, see where it says at the very top, it says Current Login in user, and your name will be there so you know you're logged in as yourself. As you can tell that the greeting is still there, good morning, and whatever your greeting name is will still show. And it still shows when you last logged in. Okay? So in order to add a new user, you will need to go to the Administration tab, and you will need to move your cursor down to where it says User Management, and then you will click on User Security. Now, in order to add a new user, you will need to first search to make sure that this user wasn't already previously in the system. So in this case, let's just enter the username, last name as Test. If you have no other values to enter, you just can click on the search button to see if there's any other users by this name. And as you can tell, we have several other users with the name of Test, and they're all in different counties. So it acts and performs very similar to when you're doing a client search in other modules within CMSNet. So let's go ahead and click on the back button again. I want to show you other ways to search. You can also search if you click on, put the last name as Test, and then user status is the status. Let's go ahead and put deactivated, and then do a search again. Okay. So again, it shows you all the testing and the deactivated status. So it shows you all the users with the last name of Test that are all deactivated. So all the other fields work similarly in that you just narrow down your search parameters by what it is exclusively that you want to search by. Okay? So let's just pretend we don't have we want to add a new test user. So go ahead and click on Add. To add a new user, all you would have to enter is all of the fields that have an asterisk by them. So as you can see, last name, first name, you will need to enter the county office or the regional office, the security template, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You will be required to enter the email address, the work phone, and the job title defaults, and so does the user type. They both default on a new user. Okay? And then you would click Save. So let's go ahead and enter a new test client. And then first name. Now the login as automatically populates. Appellation is not required. Your credentials are abbreviated, but if you need a listing of what those credentials are, they're on page 13 of your manual. They have a full description of what your credentials are. Let's go to the nickname is what you want to see on the home page when you're logged in. So this is going to say Good Morning Mary. And then the gender, we're not going to add it now, but it's not required, but we're going to update that on the profile page. The email address is required. If you do not have an email address, you need to find a generic email address, preferably one for your county that there can be sent your passwords and IDs to, because that's how we will be communicating is via secure email. Okay? Your phone number is also required. This is a new requirement for user security. Extension is not required. Then, on primary county regional office, that is a required field. You indicate what county you are from. And at the bottom, you can see that there are the regional offices as well, and also the state administrator, which you should not be selecting, and GHPP if you're in that program. So let's go ahead and pick this one. The security modules have been set for each county. So in this case, the only type of security template you can have is county administrator, independent county, or view only. Those templates indicate what menu options you will have to select from based on that template. So they've already been predetermined based on the county and or the regional office. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and select independent county. As you can see, the activation date auto-populates today's date. There is no other option than putting in the current date, so that will default. Okay, and also the other option is if you want this person to be able to sign in as a test user, you can click on the box and it will flag them as a test user. So they will be able to get in as a test user versus a regular production user. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit later on in the webinar about the deactivation date and the deactivation reason. And then you click on the Save button in order to generate your user ID and your temporary password. Now, if you were to click on the back button, what would happen is this would take you back to the previous screen to do another search. It would not save the information. So keep in mind, unless you press Save, your information that you just keyed in will not be entered. Now, this button, this Please Wait button, takes a little bit of time because what it's doing is it's creating a unique user ID and it's also creating a temporary ID. So you're going to need to, the county system admins are going to be required to save those so that they can email them to the user so that the user can use those to log in. And they will be able to reset their password when they get their temporary ID. When they log in with the temporary ID, it will automatically prompt them to reset it with a permanent password. Now, there are much stricter password requirements now, and I want to go over them with you, but maybe I'll go over them with you in a minute here. So we have just generated a new user with the username of UTest and a new temporary password. So you copy that password somewhere else so that you can email that to the user. Okay, so that is how you add a new user. It's fairly simple. Now let me explain the buttons that's down below. Okay, so the back button takes you back to the search screen, search results screen, so you can again verify that the user's been added. The save screen allows you to save if you've made any modifications, any edits. It will allow you to update this record with whatever edits you've made. Also, the reset password will reset this password again. And you can just keep resetting it, but you don't want to do that. You only want to do that when the user has called you or contacted you and asked you to reset the password. Sync LDAP is when, for whatever reason, when you create this new record and the login as doesn't show up with a new user ID, what's happened is, for whatever reason, LDAP, which is in our Unix file, hasn't been updated. And so now what has to happen is we have to click that button so that it will actually assign you a user ID. So in this case, we've actually been assigned a user ID, so everything has worked as it should. So, and as you can see at the bottom of the screen, that the last updated date and time will post, and who has last updated this record. So that is how you add a new user. The next module we will go through now is, what I wanted to talk a little bit about before we leave this screen is the job title. The job title, there's a few generic job titles that we've added, and I'm sure for every county it's slightly different. But what that is going to be used for in the future is that we'll be provided on correspondence. It's not going to happen now, but it will be in the future. Right now, we're defaulting everybody to user. The reason why we added this field is so that they will show up on correspondence, and we will also assign them the ability to have signature authority. So this is basically for future development. Right now, we're defaulting everybody to user, and the user type, let's go ahead and hit the down arrow on user type. It only says employee, and that's all, but that also is going to be for future use so that we can assign different user types. At this point, we've got it only to user. So now I think what we're going to do is let's go ahead and go click on the back button. Okay, and let's see, has that user been added? Not yet. Okay, let's go ahead and back out now. Okay, so now we're back on the user screen. Let's do a search for the user that we just added. Okay, and then search. Okay, so that is the user that we just added. Now, say we wanted to modify this user. In order to modify the user, if it's only one user on the screen, the radio button will automatically be marked. Okay, and all you have to do is click on Continue. If that was not the user that you wanted, you would click on Add to add another new user. In this case, we're going to go ahead and modify this user, and how we're going to do that is we're going to click on the field, like, for example, let's modify gender. Let's go ahead and add gender, and add a gender. And let's go ahead and add a credential, and you will see that the credential will be added to the last name of the user. Okay. And then let's go ahead and save this record, and then your user will be automatically updated. All right? So now what we're going to do, we just modified the user, and then we are going to select, let's go back to our users. Let's click on the back button and go back one more time. And let's go ahead and put in test again and deactivate it, and let's look up our deactivated users. And let's go ahead and activate one of those deactivated users. So go ahead and select any one of them. Okay, see, Molly's clicking on the radio button, and she clicks Continue. And then what she's going to do is she's going to go down to the deactivated date. Oh, it's already deactivated. So let's go ahead and click on it. Go ahead and do any one of the deactivated. So click on the radio button, and then click Continue. And then as you can see, the deactivated date on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you can add a date. So go ahead and click on the calendar, and you can do today or any day in the future. So we're going to use today. And then we need to click on a deactivation reason. Now, this is really important. If you select created an error or /duplicate, you will never see this user again. So hopefully you won't be using that very often. Hopefully we aren't creating duplicates in there. But the one you want to use is separated from service. So go ahead and click on that. And then the letter reassignment 2 allows a user's correspondence to be redirected to another user in your office. So let's go ahead and put another name in, oh, yeah, do we have one? Oh, yeah, well, you can't send it back to yourself, can you? Okay. Okay, well, we don't have one. How are we going to be able to do this? Huh? No. Yeah, I guess that'd be fine. Okay, so we're going to just redirect all these letters to one of these other users in Stanislaus County. So, and then to save this, you would click on Save. And what that does is it automatically updates and deactivates this user. And it redirects the correspondence, the letter reassignment to Kathy Alwyn. Okay. All right, so we've we showed you how to access user security. We've showed you how to search for a user. We showed you how to add a user, modify an existing user. Now what I want to do is I want to go back and I want to look at, let's go ahead and look at this user's history menu. Actually, we don't have to go back to do that. Go ahead and click on the history. Okay, this is the history menu, and basically this is an audit of all activity that's done on this user. So you can see that they've been activated, deactivated, they've had some demographic information changed, they've had a password reset. So if you wanted to go back and see who's made changes to this record, you can go back and look at who's changed it, the reason why they've changed it, what they changed, what date they changed, and what effective date that change was made. The other thing, let's go ahead and go back to add edit users. And let's go click on the back button. And what I'm going to do next is show you how to add additional counties to an active user. So go ahead and click on any active user. Click on continue. Click on menu options. And then what this allows you to do is it allows a user to be assigned to multiple counties. In this instance, we're going to go ahead and click on Add County. And what they can do then is they will have access to another county's users to take action. Now, if they take action on another county's client, their name will show at the bottom of the record. But what will happen is their primary county will still show at the bottom of the record. So, for example, if Molly was to be assigned to another county other than Alameda, say Amador, then what would happen is Alameda would still show at the bottom of the record, but with her name if she was in an Amador County client. Okay, so let's go ahead and add another county and add this person. Okay, so we've got the new county, the additional county is Amador. She's just a user. And then it also allows you to customize the menu options for that county. So if they are only going to have certain modules, you can select all of them. Let's just go ahead and give them everything. Okay, and then submit. So now what they do is they have access to all of those modules in Amador County, as well as their own county. Okay? So go ahead and click on Save, and it will save both those counties. And you can see that it says Record Updated Successfully at the top for the user test DDS. And that was, see, the DDS is now posting, so you can see the credentials for the user at the top of the page. Okay? All right. So let's talk a little bit about on section let's talk about the password requirements. Okay. This is very important. Passwords should be exactly 8 characters in length. Password is case sensitive and must contain at least one alpha uppercase letter, A through Z, or one of the national characters, which is a pound, an @ or $sign. It must contain at least one alpha lowercase letter, at least one number. 4 consecutive characters from any part of your login, first name, last name, or middle name, may not be used in your password. So, for example, my last name is Rundle. I cannot say R-U-N-D-A in my password. Previously used passwords should not be reused. Additional password information: a user must change their password at least every 90 days. You will be getting a countdown at the top of your screen to tell you when your password needs to be changed. Users will be locked out after 5 unconsecutive login attempts using an invalid user ID or password. Users may change passwords at any time using the Change Password page. And users are prohibited from any time using any of their prior passwords. Users will receive a password expiration reminder 10 days before their password expires. So in this case, we are going to enter the new password because the temporary password was, so the user logs in with their new user ID, and then the temporary password that was created or sent to, you send to the new user, and they click submit. They enter the temporary password and they click submit, and then this new password screen comes up to reset a new password for themselves. And the password requirements are listed in the manual. They're also listed on this page. They must adhere to the guidelines. And you can see there is a message that says password is valid on the screen. So you know whether or not you've entered the correct requirements. A capital, a lowercase, a number are absolutely required. And go ahead and click submit, and it will tell you whether or not your password has been changed, your temporary password has been changed. And it takes a moment, as we explained before. So what we're going to be covering next is how to update my profile and where, okay, so so now that we're logged in, you can tell you're logged in because it says currently logged in as the new user, okay? And then at the top of the screen it says good morning to you with your new greeting name, okay? So the new users, this is what they're going to see. So when they go into administration, so click on administration, they will have the ability to change their own password. If they click on it, go ahead and click on it. They will have the ability to enter their old password and then enter a new password to reset their password. Okay, so it tells you your password was changed successfully and to log in with your new password. All right, so now what we want to do is look at our profile, see what things we can change as a user. So you have the ability as a new user, any user can change their appellation, their credentials, their nickname, their gender. In this case, we're not going to change the gender. And then let's go ahead and save the information. And you could change your work number or your email address as well, if that changes. Every user has the ability to do that. And then it gives you a message that the contact information has been updated successfully. All right, the other change that we've put in is for the county mailboxes. Every county has their own unique mailboxes, and every employee within that county will have access to be able to get to the county mailboxes so that they can send mail to each other within their county. To find your county mailbox, all you have to do is go to My Web Messages, and you will see there will say mail, comma, whatever your county name is. In this case, we set it up as Plumas County, so go ahead and click on that. Oh. Okay, and so this user is not set up as a Plumas County. Oh, it is set up as a Plumas County user. So they will be able to get into the mail. So go ahead and click on it, and then you can see the mailbox. And this is, in this case, I just put in a couple of test mails, but anybody within the county has the ability to add and send information to other people within their county. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Other people actually send the...
Or external counties as well can send emails to this mailbox. And for example, in a lot of cases, the regional office will send mail to this mailbox for dependent counties within their region. So this is how it's going to work now versus how it worked before. It's fairly simple. The important thing is make sure that you open all of your mails, because then what happens is that you can see what has been worked and what hasn't. It's just courtesy to the other users within the county.
And then make sure that if you're not going to work on it or take action on that web message, to mark it as unread, so that other people know that it still needs to be worked on.
All right. Okay, so in order to log out of the CMSNet web module, you would click on the log out on the right-hand corner, and it takes you back to the login page. So that is how the user security module works for the web. Now we are going to show you, we're going to minimize it. We're going to show you how to log into the legacy system using the new, we're going to show you how to log in using the new requirements for the login as. And it is exactly the same as it is. Okay, the login as, we're going to enter the user ID, and your user ID has not changed as it is today. But the password has to meet the same password requirements, has to use the same password requirements, or you will get the access denied message stating that you have not entered the correct password. Okay, you will, once you've entered your your new user ID and your new password, meeting the new requirements, you will enter CMSA. We're going into CMSA for test purposes. You will go to your regular broadcast message. You hit enter, and then it brings you to your core applications. As you can see, there's a new option. It's called Change Password. So go ahead and click on that, and that allows you to enter a new password. And then hit enter to go down to the re-enter password. And it will update your password here as well. And it tells you the number of days before your password expires. Now, if your password was created, your temporary password was created, you can put your temporary password in the main login screen at your password, and then it will automatically come to this reset password screen for you to reset your password. So you don't have to go in and go up to the change password module, and it will automatically prompt you to change it. So it says your password has been changed, don't forget, and then press enter, and now you have a new password. So now, if you wanted to go back in, you don't have to enter a temporary password. You can go in with your newly created password. So that's what's been changed in the legacy. So that shows you all the changes that have been made in the web as well as in the legacy. And in addition to that, one of the things that I wanted to point out is that we do have a new activation deactivation form that is currently on our CMSnet, our CMS website. It's the branch website under the forms, CMS forms option, and there's a link to that in the manual. The manual will also be posted. There will be a new updated manual, web manual, and a new updated legacy login manual as well. So you'll need to go to the website to pull those up as well. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please contact the CMSnet Help Desk. Thank you.